Please, I'll get you the money. Just give me more time. Zara watched her father on his knees in their small Lagos apartment, begging the two identical men in expensive black suits. She'd never seen her father cry before, never seen him this afraid. The twins stood perfectly still, their faces emotionless masks as her father's sobs filled the cramped living room. The twin on the left tilted his head, studying her father like he was something insignificant. You've had 6 months, Mr. Johnson. The interest alone is now $4 million. We don't give more time, the other twin said. His voice was colder, sharper. We take payment. Her father's hands trembled as he pressed them together in supplication. I don't have it! I swear I don't have anything! Please, I have a family. Then you shouldn't have gambled, the cold one interrupted. You shouldn't have lost. And you definitely shouldn't have borrowed from us. Zara's mother stood behind her, gripping her shoulders so tightly it hurt. Her younger siblings huddled in their bedroom. The door cracked open just enough for their frightened eyes to peek through. The twin on the left, his eyes were slightly softer, though no less dangerous, glanced around their modest home. His gaze swept over the worn furniture, the cracked walls, the single flickering light bulb. Then his eyes found Zara standing in the doorway to the kitchen. He stared at her for a long moment. Too long. You're right, he said quietly, still looking at Zara. You don't have money. Her father's face crumpled with relief. Thank you. But you do have a daughter. The room went silent. Even her father's breathing stopped. Zara felt her mother's fingers dig deeper into her shoulders. No, her mother whispered. No, please. The colder twin turned his attention to her now, his dark eyes assessing her with the same detachment one might examine merchandise. How old? She's 21, her father stammered. But she's my daughter, she's pretty, the softer twin finished. He took a step toward Zara, then another. Well-educated? University, Zara heard herself say. Her voice sounded strange, distant. I just graduated. English literature, her mother added desperately, as if Zara's education might somehow disqualify her. She wants to be a teacher. She's a good girl, Perfect, the cold twin said. He pulled out his phone, typed something, then looked at his brother. Kai? So that was his name. Kai, the slightly softer one. Kai nodded slowly. She'll do. Do for what? Zara's voice came out stronger than she felt. What are you talking about? The cold twin, the one who wasn't Kai, smiled for the first time. It was not a comforting expression. Your father owes us $4 million. You are now worth $4 million. Quan, Kai started. She should understand the transaction, Quan cut him off, his eyes never leaving Zara's face. Your father is selling you to us, to clear his debt. The words hit her like a physical blow. Her mother screamed. Her father scrambled to his feet, suddenly finding courage now that it was too late. I never agreed to that. You can't just take my daughter. You can't pay, Kai said simply. So yes, we can. Zara's mind reeled. This couldn't be happening. This was Lagos, not some ancient kingdom where women were traded like property. This is illegal. I'll go to the police. Quan laughed. Actually laughed. Go ahead. Tell them the Han family is taking you to Seoul. See what they do. The Han family. She'd heard that name before, whispered in fear. Korean Mafia. Untouchable. Operating in 6 countries, including Nigeria, with enough money and violence to make governments look the other way. I won't go, Zara said. Her voice shook, but she stood straighter. You can't make me. Kai moved so fast she didn't see him coming. Suddenly, he was in front of her, close enough that she could smell his expensive cologne. His hand came up. She flinched, but he only tucked a strand of her hair behind her ear. Gentle, almost tender. We can make you, he said softly. But I'd prefer if you came willingly. It will be easier for everyone, especially your family. The threat was unmistakable. Her siblings, her mother. They would suffer if she refused. How long? She whispered. Forever, Quan said from behind Kai. We're not renting you, Zara. We're buying you. Her father made a strangled sound. Please, take me instead. Kill me. I'll work for you. I'll do anything. We don't need another middle-aged man with poor judgment, Kai said, still looking at Zara. We need a wife. The word hung in the air like smoke. A wife? Her mother's voice was barely audible. We're twins, Quan explained, pulling out a cigarette and lighting it despite being indoors. We share everything, including her. Zara's stomach turned. Both of you. Both of us, Kai confirmed. His thumb brushed her cheek. Wen had his hand moved to her face, and his expression was almost apologetic. I know it's not what you imagined for your life, but your father made his choice. Now you have to live with the consequences. I need time. You have 10 minutes, Quan interrupted. Pack a bag, say goodbye, then you're coming with us. 10 minutes? Her mother rushed forward. She needs more than 10 minutes. She has friends, a job interview next week, her whole life. Had, Quan corrected. She had a life. Now she has a new one. Kai finally stepped back, his hand falling away from Zara's face. 9 minutes now. I suggest you hurry. Zara looked at her father, still on his knees, tears streaming down his face. She looked at her mother, already grieving a daughter who wasn't dead but might as well be. She looked at her siblings' terrified eyes watching from the bedroom, and she understood with crushing certainty that she had no choice. If she ran, they would hurt her family. If she refused, they would take her anyway. Her father had gambled away everything, his money, his dignity, and finally, his daughter. I need to pack, she heard herself say. Her mother sobbed and pulled her into a crushing embrace. Her father couldn't even look at her. Zara walked to her bedroom like she was walking to her execution, Kai and Quan's eyes following her every step. 10 minutes to pack up 21 years of life. 10 minutes before she belonged to 2 strangers. 10 minutes before everything changed forever. The private jet was unlike anything Zara had ever seen. Cream leather seats, polished wood panels, a full bar at the back. She sat by the window, her single suitcase stored somewhere below, and watched Lagos disappear beneath the clouds. Her mother's perfume still clung to her clothes from their final embrace. Her youngest sister's tears still wet on her shoulder. Kai sat across from her, typing on a laptop. Quan was in the seat behind, speaking rapid Korean into his phone. Every few minutes one of them would glance at her, as if checking she hadn't somehow escaped at 30,000 feet. Are you hungry? Kai asked, closing his laptop. Zara shook her head. The thought of food made her nauseous. You should eat something. It's a long flight. I'm not hungry. It wasn't really a question, Quan said from behind her. He'd finished his phone call. You need to eat. You're too thin. She turned to glare at him. I've been too thin my whole life. It hasn't killed me yet. Quan's eyebrow rose. Defiance. Good. I was worried you'd be broken already. Should I be broken? The words came out sharper than she intended. You just bought me like livestock. Should I thank you? Kai's expression shifted. Something almost like respect flickered in his eyes. No, you shouldn't thank us. But you should understand your situation. Fighting won't change it. Then what will? Time, Kai said simply. And acceptance. You want me to accept being sold? Being owned by 2 men I don't know? Her voice rose despite herself. You want me to accept that my father threw me away to cover his debts? Quan leaned forward, his face suddenly close to hers. What we want is for you to survive this with grace instead of making it harder on yourself. You're ours now. That's reality. How miserable you are within that reality is up to you. How generous, she spat. He smiled. Actually smiled. I like her, Kai. She has fire. Fire burns out, Kai said quietly, but he was looking at Zara with something that might have been concern. Zara, listen to me. I understand you're angry. I understand you're scared. But we're not monsters. You bought a woman. We acquired an asset to settle a debt, Quan corrected. Different terminology. Same outcome. Kai shot his brother a warning look before turning back to Zara. What Quan means is that this is a business arrangement. Your father owed us money he couldn't pay. In our world, debts are settled one way or another. This was the least violent option. Least violent? Zara's laugh was bitter. What would the most violent option have been? Neither twin answered. They didn't have to. The silence said everything. A flight attendant appeared with food, some kind of Korean dish Zara couldn't identify. The smell alone made her stomach clench. She pushed the tray away. Eat, Quan commanded. No. He stood up, moved to the seat beside her. His proximity made her breath catch, not from attraction, but from the sheer presence he radiated. Danger, power, control. This is the last time I'll ask nicely. Eat. And if I don't? His hand moved to her chin, gripping it firmly, forcing her to look at him. Then I'll feed you myself, and you won't like it. Kai sighed. Quan, you're terrifying her. Good. She should be terrified. Terror breeds caution. Caution keeps her alive. She's not in danger, Kai said. Not from us. She's in danger from everyone else, Quan countered, releasing Zara's chin. Seoul isn't Lagos. The Han family has enemies. Lots of them. She needs to understand the stakes. Zara rubbed her jaw where his fingers had pressed. What stakes? Kai exchanged a look with his brother. Some silent communication passed between them. Then he leaned forward, elbows on his knees. Zara, we're not just businessmen. Our family controls significant portions of Seoul's underworld. Drugs, weapons, information, money laundering. We have power, which means we have enemies who would love to hurt us. And I'm suddenly part of that? You're marrying us, Quan said bluntly. That makes you a target. The word hit her like cold water. Marrying? You said I was your wife, but I thought... It's already arranged, Kai said gently. Tomorrow, actually. Small ceremony. Just family. I'm marrying both of you? At the same time? Yes. That's not legal. Not anywhere. Quan's smile was sharp. Laws are flexible when you have enough money and violence. The ceremony will be legal enough for our purposes. Zara felt the walls closing in. And after the wedding? After the wedding, you move into our home, Kai said. You learn our language. You adapt to our culture. You become part of our family. And at night? The question came out smaller than she intended. Silence. Heavy. Oppressive. Finally, Quan answered. At night, you fulfill your obligations as our wife. Both of you, Zara whispered. At the same time? Sometimes, Kai said carefully. Not always. It depends. On what? On what we want. On what you want. Eventually. He paused. I know this is overwhelming. I know it's not what you chose. But Quan is right about one thing. Fighting this will only make you miserable. We're not going to hurt you, Zara. We're not going to force ourselves on you violently. But you are ours. And eventually you'll have to accept what that means. Zara's hands trembled in her lap. She clasped them together, trying to stop the shaking. What if I can't? Accept it, I mean. Then you'll be very unhappy for a very long time, Quan said without sympathy. But you'll still be ours. That part isn't negotiable. The flight attendant returned, hovering nervously. Kai waved her away and picked up Zara's untouched tray himself. He lifted the fork, speared a piece of meat, and held it out to her. "Please," he said quietly. "Just eat something. You'll need your strength." Zara looked at the fork, looked at his face, handsome, dangerous, unreadable, looked at Quan behind him, watching with those cold, assessing eyes. She opened her mouth. Kai fed her slowly, patiently, like she was something fragile that might break. Each bite felt like surrender. Each swallow tasted like defeat. But she ate because what choice did she have? Because fighting over food wouldn't change anything. Because her new reality was sitting across from her in a $15,000 suit, feeding her dinner at 40,000 feet. When the tray was empty, Kai set it aside. "Good girl." The words made her flinch, not from fear, from the horrible realization that some part of her, some small, traitorous part, had felt pleased at his approval. "Get some sleep," Quan said, standing and stretching. "We land in 6 hours. The wedding is tomorrow afternoon. You'll want to be rested." "I won't sleep." "Yes, you will." Kai pulled out a small pill bottle, shook one into his palm, and held it out. "Take this." "What is it?" "Something to help you rest. It's not optional, Zara." She stared at the pill. "You're drugging me?" "We're helping you sleep through a traumatic journey," Kai corrected. "Trust me. You'd rather be unconscious for the next several hours than lying awake thinking about tomorrow." He was right. She hated that he was right. Zara took the pill, swallowed it dry, let her head fall back against the leather seat. The last thing she saw before the medication pulled her under was the twins watching her. Kai with something almost like gentleness, Quan with satisfaction. Tomorrow she would marry them both. Tomorrow her life would end, and something else would begin. Tomorrow she would learn exactly what "you'll take the both of us tonight" really meant. The darkness rose up and swallowed her whole. Zara woke to gentle shaking and Kai's voice in her ear. "We've landed. Time to wake up." Her body felt heavy, disconnected. The medication had worked too well. She blinked at the small jet window. Bright sunlight, a sprawling city below. Seoul, her new prison. "Can you walk?" Kai asked. "I don't know." He didn't wait for her to figure it out. His arms slid under her, lifting her like she weighed nothing. She should have fought. Should have insisted she could walk. But her limbs felt like lead, and her mind was still foggy, so she let him carry her down the jet stairs to the waiting car. Quan was already inside, phone pressed to his ear, speaking rapid Korean. He barely glanced at her as Kai settled her into the seat between them. The city outside was overwhelming. Massive buildings. Neon signs in Korean, characters she couldn't read. Crowds of people moving like schools of fish. Everything was fast, bright, alien. Nothing like Lagos. Nothing like home. "Where are we going?" Zara managed to ask. "Our family compound," Kai answered. "You'll meet our parents. Then preparations for the wedding begin." "I don't have a wedding dress." "Already taken care of," Quan said, ending his call. "Everything's arranged. You just have to show up and say yes." "What if I say no?" "Then we'll have a very awkward ceremony," Kai said with a slight smile. "But the outcome will be the same. You're marrying us, Zara. The words you say in front of the officiant are just formalities." The compound was enormous. White walls, traditional Korean architecture mixed with modern security. Guards everywhere, cameras, gates that looked like they could stop a tank. The car pulled up to a massive house that looked more like a palace. "Home," Quan announced. "Get used to it." Inside was cold marble and expensive art. A woman approached, middle-aged, elegant, with sharp eyes that missed nothing. She spoke in Korean, her tone clipped and businesslike. "Our mother," Kai translated. "She says welcome. She's pleased we've finally chosen a wife." The word chosen made Zara's stomach turn. She hadn't been chosen. She'd been purchased. Mrs. Han circled Zara slowly, examining her like merchandise. She said something else in Korean, her expression skeptical. "She says you're prettier than she expected," Quan translated. But too thin. She wants you to eat more. Everyone wants me to eat more, Zara muttered. Mrs. Han's eyes narrowed. She understood English then. Zara filed that information away. They were testing her, seeing how she'd behave. I'll eat when I'm hungry, Zara said directly to Mrs. Han. I'll do what's required of me, but I won't pretend to be happy about being sold. Silence, thick and dangerous. Then Mrs. Han laughed. Actually laughed. She said something to the twins in Korean, gestured at Zara, and walked away still chuckling. What did she say? Zara demanded. Kai's smile was genuine this time. She said you have spirit, that will need patience, and that she hopes you give her many grandchildren because you'll breed strong. Heat flooded Zara's face. I'm not breeding stock. In our world, you kind of are, Quan said bluntly. Legacy matters. Heirs matter. You'll be expected to provide both. I won't. Yes, you will, Kai interrupted gently. Not today. Not tomorrow. But eventually. It's part of the arrangement. A maid appeared, bowing and speaking softly in Korean. Kai nodded and turned to Zara. She'll take you to your room. You'll bathe, dress, and prepare for the ceremony. We'll come for you in 3 hours. 3 hours! Zara's voice cracked. That's all? That's all, Quan confirmed. The sooner it's done, the sooner we can move forward. The maid led her through hallways that seemed endless. Finally, they reached a bedroom that was larger than her. Entire apartment in Lagos. Everything was white and gold. Silk sheets, ornate furniture, a view of gardens that stretched to the compound walls. The wedding dress hung on the wardrobe. Traditional white, but with Korean embroidery. Beautiful, expensive, horrible. The maid helped her bathe. Zara was too numb to protest the intimacy. Helped her dry off, helped her into undergarments that felt like silk. Then the dress. It fit perfectly. Of course it did. They'd planned everything. Makeup next. Hair styled into something elegant. Jewelry, diamonds and gold placed at her throat and wrists. Each addition felt like chains being locked into place. When it was finished, Zara looked in the mirror and didn't recognize herself. The woman staring back was beautiful, polished, perfect, empty. Pretty, the maid said in accented English. Very pretty. They will be pleased. I don't care if they're pleased. The maid's smile was sad. You will learn to care. Easier that way. A knock at the door. Kai entered, Quan behind him. Both wore traditional Korean suits, black and elegant. They stopped when they saw her. Beautiful, Kai breathed. Quan's expression was harder to read. Yes, she'll do. I'm right here, Zara said. Stop talking about me like I'm not in the room. Sorry, Kai said, though he didn't sound sorry. Are you ready? No. That's honest, at least. He extended his arm. Come anyway. The ceremony was in the compound's garden. Small, as promised. Just family, parents, a few cousins, guards standing at the perimeter. An officiant waited under an elaborate arch wrapped in white flowers. Zara walked between the twins, each holding one of her arms, like they were afraid she'd run. They weren't wrong. The officiant spoke in Korean. Long passages Zara couldn't understand. She stood frozen, barely breathing, as words she couldn't comprehend sealed her fate. He's asking if you take us as your husbands, Kai whispered. Say yes. I can't. You have to, Quan murmured on her other side. Say it, Zara. She looked at the garden walls, at the guards, at the family watching with approval, at her own trembling hands. Yes, she whispered. More Korean. The officiant placed her hand in Kai's, then in Quan's, then bound them together with a silk ribbon. All 3 hands joined. It's done, Kai said quietly. You're our wife now. The officiant said something final. Everyone clapped. Zara felt like she was drowning on dry land. The reception was brief. Toasts she didn't understand, food she couldn't eat, people congratulating her in a language she didn't speak. Through it all, the twins stayed close. Possessive. Claiming her with their proximity. As the sun set, Quan leaned close to her ear. "Time to go." "Go where?" "To our bedroom," he said simply. "The wedding night, remember?" Everything inside Zara went cold. This was it. The moment she'd been dreading since Lagos. Kai took her hand. "Come with us, Zara." "I'm not ready." "You'll never be ready," Quan said. "But it's happening anyway." They led her through the compound to a different wing. A different bedroom. Larger, darker, dominated by an enormous bed. The door closed behind them with a final, terrible click. Zara backed away until she hit the wall. "Please, I need more time." Kai approached slowly, hands visible, like she was a frightened animal. "We've given you time. The flight, the ceremony. Now it's time to consummate this marriage." "Both of you?" Her voice broke. "At once?" "Not at once," Quan said, shrugging off his jacket. "We're not animals, but yes, both of us. Tonight." "I can't." "You can," Kai interrupted gently. He was in front of her now, close enough to touch. "And you will, because you're ours, Zara. You agreed to that when you said yes in the garden." His fingers brushed her cheek. She flinched. "I know you're scared," he continued. "I know this isn't what you wanted. But fighting won't change anything. It'll only make this harder." "Then make it easier," she whispered. "Please, just make it easier." Something shifted in his expression. "We'll try. I promise we'll try." Quan was behind her now. When had he moved, his hand at the zipper of her dress? "Relax," he murmured against her ear. "We'll make this good for you, if you let us." The zipper descended. Cool air hit her spine. Kai's hands were on her shoulders, sliding the dress forward. It pooled at her feet like surrender. "Beautiful," Kai said again. "So beautiful." Zara closed her eyes. Let the darkness take her. Let whatever was going to happen, happen. Because this was her life now. This was forever. And resistance, she was learning, was just another form of suffering. Morning light filtered through silk curtains. Zara woke slowly, body aching in unfamiliar ways, sheets tangled around her bare skin. The bed was enormous. Empty, except for her. She sat up, wincing. Last night came back in fragments, gentle touches that turned demanding. 2 sets of hands learning her body. Whispered words in Korean and English, pleasure she hadn't expected and didn't want to feel. They'd been careful, almost tender. It had still felt like violation. The door opened. Kai entered carrying a tray, tea, rice, soup. He was already dressed, perfectly composed, like last night hadn't happened. "Good morning," he said, setting the tray on the bedside table. "How do you feel?" Zara pulled the sheet higher. "How do you think I feel?" "Sore, confused, angry." He sat on the edge of the bed, careful not to touch her. "All reasonable reactions. Where's Quan?" "Business. He'll be back tonight." Kai poured tea, held out the cup. "Drink. It'll help." She took it because her throat was dry. The tea was sweet, soothing. She hated that it helped. "Last night," she started. "Was necessary," Kai finished. "I know that doesn't make it easier. But it's done now. You're truly our wife in every sense." "Is that supposed to comfort me?" "No, it's supposed to be reality." He watched. Her drink, his expression unreadable. "Zara, I need you to understand something. This isn't a love story. Not yet. Maybe not ever. But it is your life now. You can spend every day fighting it, hating us, making yourself miserable. Or you can accept it and find whatever happiness you can within these circumstances. You want me to be happy about being owned? I want you to survive this without breaking. His voice was quieter now, almost gentle. I've seen women in your position before. The ones who fight forever destroy themselves. The ones who adapt, who find purpose, who build something within the constraints. They survive. Some even thrive. I'll never thrive here. You don't know that yet. He stood, adjusted his jacket. Rest today. Explore the compound if you want. You're not a prisoner. Well, not exactly. You can't leave without guards, but you're free to move around. Tomorrow, we'll start your Korean lessons. You need to understand our language if you're going to live in our world. And tonight? His pause told her everything. Tonight, we'll come to you again. It'll get easier, Zara. I promise it will. He left before she could respond. The days blurred together. Korean lessons every morning with a patient tutor who pretended not to notice when Zara cried. Afternoons exploring the compound, gardens, libraries, rooms that seemed endless. Evenings with the family, sitting silent while conversations flowed in a language she was slowly, painfully learning. Nights with the twins, learning her body belonged to them in ways she still couldn't accept. But Kai was right about one thing. It did get easier. Not good, not welcome, but easier. 3 weeks in, Quan found her in the garden, reading under a cherry blossom tree. He sat beside her without asking permission. You're learning Korean quickly, he observed. I'm a fast learner. Good, you'll need to be. He pulled out a cigarette, lit it, blew smoke toward the sky. Do you hate me, Zara? The question caught her off guard. Yes. And Kai? Less than you. But yes. He laughed. Honest. I appreciate that. Most women would lie, try to manipulate us with false affection. I'm not most women. No, you're not. He studied her profile. You're stronger than I expected. Smarter. I thought you'd break by now. Sorry to disappoint. You didn't. I prefer strength. He paused. My mother wants to take you shopping tomorrow, for proper Korean clothes. You should go. She's testing you, but she's also warming to you. Because I breed well? The bitterness leaked through. Kwan's smile was sharp. Because you don't cower. She respects that. It's rare. The shopping trip was awkward. Mrs. Han's broken English, Zara's terrible Korean, navigating Seoul's luxury districts with guards trailing them. But something shifted. In a boutique dressing room, Mrs. Han helped Zara into a hanbok, adjusted the fabric, and said in careful English, You look like daughter now. Not daughter-in-law. Daughter. Zara's eyes burned with unexpected tears. That night, when the twins came to her, something was different. Kai noticed immediately. You're crying. What happened? Your mother was kind to me today. The twins exchanged glances. That's good, Kai said carefully. She doesn't give affection easily. I don't want to like her, Zara whispered. I don't want to feel anything for any of you. It's easier if I hate you. Quan sat on the bed's edge, closer than usual. But you don't just hate us anymore, do you? She couldn't answer. Because he was right. Somewhere between the forced intimacy and small kindnesses, between Korean lessons and family dinners, something had shifted. She still resented them, still mourned her stolen life, but hate was becoming more complicated. I don't know what I feel, she admitted. That's honest, Kai said. He brushed hair from her face, a gesture that was becoming familiar. You don't have to know yet. 2 months in, everything changed. Zara woke violently ill, barely making it to the bathroom before vomiting. It continued for days. The twins brought doctors. Tests were run. And then Kai sat on her bed, holding her hand, and said, You're pregnant. The world stopped. No. Yes, 8 weeks, they think. No, I can't. You are, Quan said from the doorway. His voice was different, softer. You're carrying our child. Zara's hands went to her stomach instinctively. A child. A baby. Growing inside her because of what they did to her night after night. She should hate it. Should resent this final claim they'd made on her body. But underneath the fear and confusion, something else stirred. Something protective. Fierce. Boy or girl? She heard herself ask. Too early to tell, Kai said. But healthy. Strong. Like the mother, Quan added. The pregnancy changed everything. The twins became impossibly protective. Guards doubled. Zara was forbidden from going anywhere without security. She was given supplements, special food, constant medical monitoring. The family celebrated. She was carrying the Han heir. Mrs. Han visited daily, bringing soups and traditional remedies, speaking more English now, teaching Zara about pregnancy and their culture. Her father-in-law, who'd barely acknowledged her existence, nodded approvingly when he saw her growing belly. She was finally valuable to them. Not as a wife, as an incubator. But the twins' treatment shifted too. They still came to her bedroom, but differently now. Gentle touches, careful positions. Kai would talk to her stomach in Korean, his voice tender. Quan would place his hand there, feeling for movement, his hard expression softening. "Are you happy?" Kai asked one night, his head resting on her stomach. Zara considered lying, considered the easy answer. "I don't know. I'm terrified. I'm angry this choice was taken from me, but I love this baby already. I don't understand how that's possible, but I do." "That's enough," Quan said from her other side. "Love them. We'll handle the rest." 5 months pregnant, the threat came. Zara was in the garden when she heard shouting. Gunshots. Quan appeared, grabbed her arm, dragged her inside. "Stay down! Don't move!" "What's happening?" "Choi family," he said, checking his gun. "They found out about the baby. They're trying to take you." Terror flooded through her. Her hands went to her stomach, protecting her child's. "Why?" "Leverage," Kai said, appearing with more guards. "They can't hurt us directly, so they'll hurt what we love." What they loved. She was what they loved. The compound became a war zone. Gunfire, screams, smoke. Kai and Quan disappeared into the chaos, leaving her with 6 guards in a reinforced panic room. Hours passed. She couldn't breathe. Couldn't think. Just held her stomach and prayed. When the door finally opened, it was Quan. Blood on his shirt. Murder in his eyes. "It's over. They're dead. All of them." "All of them?" "Every single member of the Choi family," Kai confirmed, appearing behind his brother. "Also blood-stained. Also lethal. They threatened what's ours. We eliminated the threat permanently. They'd killed an entire family. For her. For their baby." Zara should have been horrified. Should have condemned them. Instead, she felt safe. "Are you hurt?" she asked. "Not our blood," Quan said. He crossed to her, pulled her into his arms despite the gore covering him. "Are you okay? Is the baby okay?" "We're fine. You protected us." "Always," Kai said, joining the embrace. "We'll always protect you both." And Zara realized, standing between 2 killers who'd murdered for her, that somewhere along the way, she'd stopped being their prisoner. She'd become their family. The baby came on a spring morning. A girl with Zara's dark skin and the twins' sharp features. Beautiful. Perfect. Theirs. "What should we name her?" Kai asked, holding his daughter with trembling hands. Zara looked at her family. These dangerous men who'd bought her, owned her, and somehow taught her to love them. "Hope," she said. "Let's call her Hope." Because against every odd, despite everything, that's what she'd found here. Years passed. More children came, twin boys, then another girl. The compound filled with noise and laughter. The twins legitimized their business, leaving behind the worst violence. Zara learned to love both men differently but equally. Kai's gentle warmth, Quan's fierce protection. She never forgot Lagos, never forgot being sold. But she'd built something here that was worth keeping. One night, with all 5 children asleep and the twins flanking her in bed, Kai asked, "Are you happy now?" Zara thought about everything. The pain, the fear, the forced intimacy that became chosen, the family she never wanted that became everything. "Yes," she said honestly. "I'm happy." "Do you love us?" Quan asked, rare vulnerability from him. "Yes. Differently than if I'd chosen you freely. But yes, I love you both." They held her between them, their wife, their family. And Zara understood that love didn't always start with choice. Sometimes it started with survival. And sometimes, if you were brave enough, survival became something more. If you've stayed with Zara's journey this far, please subscribe to hear more stories like this. Drop a comment telling me which twin you'd choose, Kai or Quan, and don't forget to hit that like button. More dark romance stories coming soon.